This is my review on Star Wars The Force Awakens. So this takes place years after Star Wars last Star Wars of the original trilogy. So clone troopers attack and this guy called Kylo Ren kills one of the guys. Attacks, takes the guy, uses the Force. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous because it's been a long time since the last time I reviewed a Star Wars film. Anyway, so this clone trooper sees this one. Sees what these clone troopers do, and he's horrified. And he sees one of his own die. And the clones are named by numbers, not by names. Anyway, so he wants to get away from the Force, so he steals this. He helps this guy escape, and he names him Finn. And we see that this guy, Kylo Ren, has a little bit of anger. He swings his lightsaber and damages stuff to throw a temper tantrum. Every time someone ruins his plans, things don't go as what go to his plan. And he worships Darth Vader. And he wants to be like as strong and as reckless as Vader and as evil as Vader. And there's a map that supposedly leads to Luke Skywalker. And so we see this main female character. I'm not sure who's the main character, Finn or Rey. Anyway, we meet Rey and she's collecting jump, waiting for her family to return, and she runs into the droid, and this guy offers to sell her with flawless food, and she decides not to sell the droid. Anyway, she literally runs into Finn, and Finn's friend supposedly died and he takes his friend's jacket, because that's all that's left of him, and gets rid of the stormtrooper uniform. And she kind of figures that he's... What the heck? With the Resistance. And they steal a ship together, which is the Millennium Falcon. and they call the ship a piece of junk because they want to take another ship, but it gets destroyed. So it says, let's take the piece of junk. And she drives like a pro. And when they stop, someone hops aboard of the ship. It is Han Solo and Chewie. And they find out that the whole thing is true about Jedi's are real and the Force. So, BB-8 is what the drone's called, and finds out that Finn is not really a resistance, he's just trying to get away from the First Order. And BB-8 doesn't keep his mouth shut because he makes a deal with Finn. And they go to the point where they see this old alien who can help them, and one I remembered about this movie, somehow Darth Vader's mask got burned when he took it off in the last movie. The bomb pot stayed on with him, and he took the top part off, the front and back part off of his mask, but the whole thing somehow got burnt. And Rey, she discovers that this old lady discovers that she's strong with the Force, and she finds Luke's lightsaber, but it's not his green lightsaber, which was his newer one when he got his hand cut off by Darth Vader. No, it's his old lightsaber, which fell into God knows where, along with his hand. And for some reason that really bugs me. Anyway, so she finds out Finn is now resistant by the ex-stormtrooper and doesn't want to run away from the first resistance because Finn's a little hurt because Finn lied to her, and she gets kidnapped by Kylo Ren and her stormtrooper, and Finn has a fight with a stormtrooper after he calls the stormtrooper says traitor, and it's a really badass fight scene anyway. And so Han Solo and Chewie and Finn meet up with Princess Leia, who's now Queen Leia, or General Leia. Anyway, that's the Leia of the Resistance. And R2-D2's in like this sleep, resting, and he hasn't said anything in years. And been offline for years, so been in a state of shock for years, and C-3PO lost his arm at somehow, and it's not really explained how he lost his arm or when did he lose his arm, but for some reason it's replaced with a red arm, a red painted arm, a red arm, instead of, I don't know, gold or silver. They couldn't find, well, I guess they wanted to stand out. Anyway, well, Leia and Han was having this little reunion and saying that they saw their son. C-3PO decides to be third wheel and just ruins the moment. And, oh, hello, the Han Solo. It is I, C-3PO. Which is actually kind of fun to watch. So anyway, they come up with this rescue mission to save Leia and save the galaxy. Again. By taking out, can't remember what the actual title of this thing is called, but it's a more deadly version of the Death Star. That's really hard to find any weak points on like the Death Star. And so while Kylo Ren is trying to use the Force to get information because the map is inside her head that supposedly leads to Luke Skywalker. She uses the Force to get the map out of her head, and then she uses the Force back at him and says that she will never be as strong as Vader. And that really pisses him off. So he goes with his master saying that she's strong with the Force, and his master wants her personally, and she uses the Force to brainwash the stormtrooper and release these chains and let her escape. And she has to try it a second time because it doesn't work the first time. Finn and Chewie and Solo work on a plan. He says, work on a plan because Finn admitted that he only was a true stormtrooper for this one time. He says, it's alright, we'll use the Force. and Han says, that's not how the Force works, you idiot. Okay, he doesn't say any, but you can tell he's thinking that. So they come up with a plan, and they take the lead of the stormtroopers hostage and disable and run into disable the second Death Star and you know, so that stuff wasn't working. Run into, what's her name? Ray. Run into Ray. Because he's seen what the Death Stars keep up and destroy the entire planet of one that we're not familiar with in the Star Wars franchise. So Han goes to talk to Kylo and seems to get through him only to get killed by his own son. Chewie is very scarred by this, and this kills all the goes on a killing spree. So, and anyway, some point they go back, failed mission, and the failed sex mission. No wait, that's the end. So what happens? Anyway, Rey fights. First, Finn fights Kylo with the lightsaber and does a good job until he gets wounded. And then Rey fights Kylo's lightsaber, and Kylo says, "You need a teacher to teach you the way of the Force." And she uses the Force and morally really stabs Kylo, and he's really bleeding, and he's just swinging the lightsaber around. And anyway, Kylo loses and Rey wins, and Finn has to, then they go back to Princess Leia and the rebellion, and Finn's getting medical care while Leia is somehow used the Force to sense that Han Solo was dead. You know, in the previous films, there's never been acknowledged that she's with the Force. But in this one, she is with the Force, okay? So, yeah, it gets really confusing a bit, and especially if you're aware of the Star Wars franchise, it gets even more confusing. Anyway, so Rey goes to Luke's follows the map, which actually leads to Luke Skywalker, and they pose while Rey's handing the lightsaber, and credits roll.